And so she asked me to write down a couple questions, and I wrote down some questions I think that people in my field or around my level of learning right now would ask people. So if they have any more questions after this, I would love for them to ask that too. So you don't have to answer all of these, but the more you answer, the better I think it is for all of us. So I don't know, do you guys have the sheet? Okay, so the first thing is just introduce yourself, you know, where you work, the company you work for, the community that you work for, and what you majored in and what school you went to. So.
My name is Scott Leonard. I'm a property manager for Kettler Management. I work at the Allegro apartment communities in downtown DC in the Columbia Heights area. 297 units, mid-rise luxury, with the retail portion as well. Graduated Virginia Tech and the RPM program in 2007. As far as college courses that I find most beneficial, definitely any and all of the financial courses. Budgeting, creating a market plan for the property as well. These are things, being on site, you're going to be dealing with on a day-to-day basis. Also, some of the things I know for those who are in tech programs, the maintenance classes, they seem a little silly maybe at the time, but until you have to order a whole bunch of ovens or ranges, it's really beneficial to have that background knowledge, really support your maintenance team, and make smart financial decisions for the property. Kettler is actually a private company. I actually worked with Kettler since my internship, so I don't have much experience with other publicly traded or REIT companies. As far as networking with the other people in the industry, from the very get-go, as soon as you graduate, get involved with NAAEI or possibly RM. Network, meet other people that are in the industry, and participate, hold positions. As you were saying about chairs, maybe they have a social organization. Start slowly, move up to volunteer work. Anything that really can network you with other people in the industry. You never know. It's such a small, close, tight-knit community. You never know when someone can help you out without a vendor. You may need to get hardwood flooring replaced in a day. You don't have a vendor, but someone you met at an AA conference does. Small things like that can be a big benefit for you as far as day-to-day operations. Advice is to get an interview and make decisions about where you want to work. Really think about how you work and what you're like. If you're like a fast-paced, that maybe be more of a stressful environment, maybe at least that's what you're looking for. If you love the city, go to something in the city, for instance. So really look at yourself and what really makes you tick. The same things which were important to you when deciding the university you went to, look at that as well. Look at the company culture. If you like a larger company, you like maybe something a little more small and local. There's no right or wrong answer that way. It's really what's most important to you. Biggest surprise to me when I started my career is the workload. Especially in property management, it's not really a 9-to-5, 9-to-6 job. You're going to be working later hours. You're going to get those after-hours calls. It makes it fun and enjoyable, and you really feel as if you're doing something to help the community. So that was kind of a little bit of a shock and surprise, but nothing too bad. Advice to help you get started with your career, said it before, join NAA, join IRM, just join the professional organizations to really start networking and meeting people in the industry. I find that's been very beneficial. It also helps with continuing education. Get your CAN designation as well, and continue that education throughout your career.
Good morning, everybody. My name is James Kim. I'm a senior leasing consultant for Equity Residential. I work over in Arlington, pretty much right down the street in the courthouse. It's a high-rise luxury building. It's built in 2008. And I went to Virginia Tech. I did the RPM major. I see a lot of tech kids here, so that makes me smile. So what college courses did I find most helpful in my career? To be honest, I liked the field study, what you guys are doing right now. You learn all the logistics in your classworks. You learn how to read financial statements. You learn how to do leasing, pretty much all logistics of it. But you don't get the experience. You can't, when you first go into the industry, when you actually start working nonstop, that's when it's like the most beneficial for you. there's nothing like when someone, like I remember my first internship I did back in my sophomore year, it was about 3 or 4 years ago. And nothing could have prepared me for like when individuals are extremely irate at a situation, kind of like, it's like diffusing a bomb. So that's just, it's just pretty much, you learn from your experiences you go with. Any college courses that you wish you took and would recommend? So I graduated back in 2010. I had some friends that kind of segue into the commercial real estate industry. I kind of wish I took more classes in the commercial firm because I feel like with RPM, you're kind of you're viced with both subjects. You know how to basically run the property, know how to do leasing at the same time. Just on a personal standpoint, I wish I took more commercial classes. So I did have a chance. I did 3 internships in sophomore, junior, and senior year. Worked with Bizzuto, Wynn Residential, and Equity. And I did work with both the publicly traded companies and private companies. For the most part, they're pretty similar. Not every one company is the same. Everyone has their different company cultures, the different metrics that you got kind of graded upon. So, at like a leasing professional standpoint, they're pretty much very similar. I feel like once you reach that property manager level, that's when you can kind of see the changes in terms of private industries to public industries. I know I had a chance to sit in a couple like financial reviews. I know with like public companies, there's more, they kind of find one method and adopt it to different properties. With private, you're more involved with the situation. You can plan your own budgets. With private, you're mostly like fee managed based properties. So what happens is you can work directly with the owners of the building at the same time work with the regional at the financial review. So that's one. Those are like the 2 major differences. And I mean, we're in this for the long haul, so I'm guessing I would recommend have experiences with both industries, private and public. Have you been networking with other people in the apartment industry? Yeah, I have. It's important for you guys, like when you graduate, make sure you guys talk amongst each other. It helped me out a lot. As I see, there's a lot of tech kids that I graduated with, and I remember during that time process, I would ask them what their interview process went. Just make sure you communicate. And when you join whatever company that you start to work for, it's important to make connections. Just if you have any questions in the future, you can contact them. I started off as like a floating assistant manager when I came on board, and I had a chance to work for like 5, 6 different properties. And now that I keep going to different properties, if there's a problem, I have a contact I can call just to find a solution to the problem. So make sure you have a good attitude, just meet as many people out there. Any advice when you begin to interview? Do your homework. So what I did was when I graduated, I interviewed for like 3 to 4 different companies. A big question to ask them is like, what do you know about our company, pretty much. So definitely do your homework. I got quizzed right off the bat for some of the interviews, and I was well prepared, which was great. And then decide on like where you want to work upon graduation. Just whatever fits your lifestyle. I'm a more fast-paced environment lifestyle. I move close to the city, so I mean, do whatever makes you happy in the very end. What was a surprise to you as you started your career? It was fast-paced. I was training for property for another, like I had to run 2 different assistant property manager roles in Herndon, so I had like a 3-week timetable to learn everything basically. So just get off the ground, just learn quickly, and let's go take it from there. One piece of advice would you give us to help us start our career successfully? One advice that I've recently picked up after my first year is volunteer. Just if there's any kind of activities out there that is available to you guys, be the first one to kind of jump at the situation. I was doing like due diligence for an acquisition that was coming up, so little things like that. Your property manager knows exactly what you're doing. Your regional manager is aware that you are more than willing to step up to the plate basically. So that's one advice to you. Don't be shy about the subject. Just take the ball and go with it basically. Yeah, that's it for the most part.
My name is Corben. Also in the tech class of 2007. That's correct. And I work with Southern Management. Right now I work at 2 different communities. I work with the High Rise in Alexandra and also in Gardenstown. When I first started, of course I did RPM. When I first started with the company Southern Management, I was a regional leasing specialist, so I worked in over 20 different communities. So that was one big surprise when I first started, because there were some days where I go to 3 different properties. So it was, you just have to get your mind frame from this community to the other, so that was one big surprise. Some college courses that I found interesting, like I would say public speaking, because there are times where you have to give reports, presentation to the owners of the company. Also the class with the CAMP project, because every year you'll be going through that on your community. You'll be doing the budget, you have to analyze your other competitors, so take that one very seriously. That one comes in handy. Let me see. And for the companies that I work for, my internship, I did both equity and also Southern Management, so I had a hands-on with both private and also public. One big difference is with the private one, they do not have as many positions as the private, where they have the regional. In public, they have the regional and all that. But with private, the property manager will usually be the regional. He or she is the decision maker, instead of if you need something that you might have to ask your original. So that would be one thing. And also as far as networking, it's just everybody in this room. Like they told you, because when you start working, everybody that you knew with, they will be the one working for your competitor. So networking and working for your competitor doesn't mean a bad thing. You could share ideas, help you each other grow the company. So just keep in touch with everybody that you're in your classes with. As far as any advice for your interviews and stuff, I also say one big advice is the internship, take it seriously. I know, because some people, they say, oh, I just needed to graduate. No, you need to you are impressing the company that you're working for. All of us out here, or most of us, whoever we're working with now, we did an internship with. And the reason why we back there is because we did something to impress them. So take it seriously, don't take it lightly. And one piece of advice that I'll give you before you start your career too, like he said, do your research, see where you want to be, whether you want to start with a big company or a small company. That all makes a difference. You might want to start with a big community where you just concentrate on one thing, or you can start with a small community where you do hands-on with every little thing. So see what fits you better, what you think you want to do, where you see yourself in a couple of years, and which one will you do better, please. That's me.
Hi, my name's Kelly Heavener. I recently graduated from Virginia Tech in this past May. I took a accepted position with United Dominion Realty as an assistant community director. I'm working at one of their newly acquired properties in downtown DC. It's called View 14. It's 185 units in the U Street corridor area. So what college courses did you take that you now find are most helpful? I would say asset management. It was a class, wasn't necessarily my favorite class, to say the least, but I would say that it has been the most beneficial to me. That's the class where you create your community analysis, you learn how to read and interpret budgets, calculate variances for different reports, calculate traffic, GPR, different kind of percentages, and you learn all that stuff to go into a marketing plan for a property. For the private versus public, I did intern with Kettler Management, but since I just started with UDI, they are a public company, but I just started, I've only been working there a little over a month, so I haven't actually been able to see too many of the differences there, so I don't have very much advice on that part. But as far as networking, as a college student, you really are presented with so many opportunities, to get out there and build relationships with so many different people in different avenues of the industry. So I would suggest just going to as many speakers as you can, going to the conferences. I personally got to go to the NAAEI conference. If that's an opportunity for you, I'd definitely say step up and do as many of those things as you can. Also, once you graduate, for example, I don't have as much access to the Virginia Tech alumni and everything anymore. So I've created like a LinkedIn account to try to keep in touch with other professionals in the industry as well. So advice for interviewing and making a decision about where you'll work. The best piece of advice I can give is to choose a position not based on the salary or the title, but choose a company where you feel you're going to be most compatible with, because at the end of the day, it's really going to be the people that you work with, that determines how happy you are in your first job. So surprise to me, really the most significant thing I learned once I started my career was that classroom knowledge is really only going to take you so far. Once you're thrown out there in the real world, you have to actually apply it to a real life situation, it's going to be a lot different. Other than that, I really learned a little bit more about how tight-knit this industry actually is. Went into my first job, started, and I threw out some names of people I had met at career fairs, and it's kind of crazy. Everyone really seems to know everyone else. So, what piece of advice would you give? Like I said, build as many relationships as you can and stay in touch with professionals in the industry for your future. And then, from what I've learned, I've only been working in the industry professionally for about a little over a month. I've learned, that first impressions really are critical to your success in the professional world. So, be confident, act professionally, and dress the part.
Good morning. My name is Justin Lucy. I'm the assistant property manager in Alexandria, Virginia at Home Properties Community. It's a high-rise community. It's 544 units, and we have a handful of commercial units there also. I graduated from Tech in 2009, RPM program as well. I did my internship with Home Properties, and then right after graduation came back full-time as a floating assistant manager. Like you were saying, with that you get a little bit of experience, get to work at probably 15 to 20 different communities. You get to see different management styles and as well also different types of communities, mid-rises, high-rise, different demographics, anywhere from Silver Spring to Reston to Alexandria. College courses, pretty much at Virginia Tech, it's a really structured program. They got it pretty well figured out there. Anything that deals with budgets and, like you said, asset management, those are really helpful. But to be honest, the internship really is the most beneficial thing, because when you go back to school in the fall, you'll get to apply what you actually learned in the field. And honestly, when you get back in the fall, the classroom section is a little bit easier because you can kind of relate it to what you experienced this summer. I haven't had any experience with the private company. I've been with Home Properties. They are a REIT, which is a public traded company. With them, one of the main things is maximizing the shareholder value because the owners and the investors both want to see the stocks perform well, so that's something that's very important with the publicly traded company. Let's see. Networking with other people, definitely keeping in touch with your former classmates. You can talk to each other, see who had a good experience with their internship versus somebody who might not have liked what they did this summer, and kind of try to match your personal preferences with that as well. LinkedIn, I haven't gotten too involved with that, but I signed up not too long ago, and they keep sending emails about top jobs in the industry. Obviously NAAEI, we get emails, updates of what's going on in the industry and whatnot. Let's see. Advice as you begin to interview and make a decision about where you want to work. I thought this was pretty important because, to be honest, there's a ton of companies out there. It can be a little bit overwhelming, so my personal advice would be pick the area that you want to be in, and then kind of narrow it down to focus on the companies that have a lot of properties in that area. Like if you want to work on the West Coast, there's no point in looking at the companies that don't have any properties out there. Let's see. What was a surprise to you as you started in your career? I was pretty surprised at how personal of a business it is on all levels. On one side, it's really personable. Everybody in the office, it's kind of like your family. I spend more time with them than I honestly do at home, so you got to have a good relationship with everybody you work with. And then, everybody you work with, your maintenance team, your property manager, everybody. Also the residents, they take things very personal. Sometimes you do something really small, have a little resident event, and some people think the world of it. They come in and they thank you, and they think you bent over backwards for them. So some of the people, they appreciate everything you do, and then other people, you're dealing with their home, so if you send them a letter saying they owe you money or something, they take that very personal as well. Some of them won't be too happy with you, but you kind of got to take those things with a grain of salt, so to speak. Let's see. One piece of advice to help you start your career, pretty much just be as flexible and as open-minded as you can. Try to soak up as much information and just gain as much experience as you can, because coming out of school you're going to be very green, but at the same time you have a lot of, personally, I have a lot of energy. I feel like I can take on a lot more now than I might be able to later on down the road. So just keep an open mind and just soak up whatever you can.
My name is Kelvin Waves. I'm Resident Services Manager at Mount Vernon Square Apartments. It's basically a 1,387 unit garden style apartment located in Alexandria, right off of Richmond Highway. I graduated from Virginia Tech in the RPM program. What courses helped me the most? When I first started, I was a bookkeeper with home properties, so definitely asset management is very important to be able to read a ledger, especially starting out in that position. Also, business writing is very important to good written communication. There's going to be a ton of correspondence, whether it's to residents, inter-office correspondence, so that's important as well. Courses that I wish I would take and would recommend, anything related to interviewing. You're going to find yourself in a position where you're going to have to interview potential candidates for an open position you have. So it was very hard for me to make that position or transition from being an interviewee to the interviewer. So I would recommend, if you have a chance, to take that sort of a class. I've been working with home properties since my internship, so I don't really have any experience working for a private company. Any advice I would have, definitely look into the company culture, find out, where you feel the most comfortable, whether it's with the company you're interned with. That was a huge thing for me. It wasn't necessarily the salary or the area. I just wanted to find a company that I felt like fit me and I felt like that I would fit in the best with. Surprise, definitely the fast-paced environment. Working in a community of the size that I do, it's very important to have strong multitasking skills. You might find yourself working on a project and get interrupted 2, 3, 4, 5 times in an hour. So, multitasking, having the ability to professionally manage interruptions would be very important. A piece of advice to help start your career, I would definitely say follow up. Whether it's with your employer, your residents, finding out how they felt about maybe their recent maintenance request. Was the request completed on time? Are they satisfied? Maybe follow up 3, 6 months down the road to see, how they're enjoying the community. It's really going to help with resident retention. Also, I would say don't be afraid to ask for feedback. Every now and then you might want to go to your property manager just to see if there's anything that you could be doing better, whether you're doing good. It's going to help you grow a lot.
So if anybody has any questions, you can ask them.
I have a question. And I'm asking this because I've heard this from other students who went to Virginia Tech. Do you find when you were hired to work at the property that, and you're hired in on a fast track, have you had to face any people that resent the fact that they were working at that property longer and you're getting some opportunities that they've been unable to get because you were graduates of the residential property management program and you're being fast-tracked? Have any of you faced that?
I actually have. When I went to go train, I trained over in Fairfax and had 3 other leasing consultants who were there for about 2 to 3 years, and there was definitely some sort of resentment, like, oh, hey, he's just starting in the industry, why does he get an assistant manager role when other individuals have to work their way up? So that's one situation where I kind of face.
Do you have any tips if people face that, how you were able to diffuse that?
Yeah, definitely, just perform well. We're going to school, this is our major, we're well equipped with performing. I let my actions speak for my words. I just went in there and did a good job, and after a while you gain the respect. That's all you have to do, I guess.
I haven't really felt too much resentment. I've had people actually like on the opposite end of the spectrum. They're like, oh, you're going to be the poster child. They say like, remember me in 5 years, 10 years when you're the RPM and stuff like that. But yeah, I think they kind of respect, or from my personal experience, when you come in and they see you fresh out of college and you're the APM. I've got challenged a couple times, but then when you, like you said, perform and your actions speak for your words, they kind of take a step back, so to speak.
I've run into it, but I think it depends on how you act. Just as they said, if you don't have to be apologetic for your success if we're working hard for that, but being modest, acting professional the entire time, and just showing results and just working with them. them, say, you know, these are things I did, and help them maybe overcome any obstacles they may have, so they can progress as well. Your biggest ally is the next person who might take your position. So always be cross-training people and just kind of help them grow as well.
Does anyone else have any other questions? I have a question, another question about training within your companies. Do your companies have formal training programs so that some of the things that perhaps you weren't able to learn through your residential property management program, or they want to train you the way their company does business? Can you describe how you've had support in that way from your companies?
When I just came in to my company, it wasn't really like a formal like classroom training session. It was really like a course of online classes. So it was more like a classroom setting where I just kind of went through just to kind of help me learn like the database and everything. And then other than that, basically my property manager was just my mentor. Since I came in the middle of the acquisition, it was hard for them to actually have time to set aside for a separate training program. So I kind of just was forced to learn really quickly.
Yeah. My company also, Southern Management, does offer the training. One of them is a 12-week program called the Southern Difference, and it does anywhere from handling residents to team member conflicts and doing, like Justin said, like interviewing. So they do offer that for you. Even when you start off as a leasing professional, they have classes for you. They have classes in other different parts, like for maintenance, that anybody else can sign up with to gain the knowledge if you need to. So they do have that outlet.
Keller has a very similar training. I'm sure our interns now. Starting with leasing, properly having good customer service skills. Moving on from there, all financials as far as accounting accruals, completing variance reports. All of those classes are offered just so you understand the company's expectations and if you have any questions to assist you. I think most companies, from what I've seen and spoken to other people in the industry, most if not all of the countries will provide some type of corporate level training, provide a good solid basis, and I think everyone can agree that your property manager, regional property manager, can assist you with even further with the nitty-gritty details.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like at the corporate level, I think we spent probably like the first week, like a solid week, going through like, fair housing, how to answer phone calls, how to deal with angry residents, like the basic stuff like you were saying, like that. And then when you get on site, it's more, site specific, kind of under your property manager's wing or under your RVP's wing, kind of learning their management style and kind of adapt into that as well.
Okay, anyone else doesn't have a question? I have one more. Where do each of you see yourself in 5 years?
Well, definitely still in the industry, hopefully still with Keller. I don't know if Cindy Claire says.
When she comes on.
Just working away up the ladder, hopefully go into a senior property manager role, regional, and really take it from there. I really enjoy working with Keller. So I see no reason to switch companies right now. Just kind of grow within the industry.
Similar situation. Feel like I have enough experience underneath my belt. I can start applying for property manager positions in the next upcoming months. Just taking each day and learning from your experiences, growing. Because when you start working, the time flies by. Like I felt like it was just yesterday I graduated school, but like the experiences that you learn, just learn from it, just grow with.
Alright, same here too. Hopefully with the same company. I've learned a lot since I started. Like I said, I worked under a lot of different managers, and the reason why I'm in a new position now, I'm just working under 2 communities, and before I was able to pick those 2 communities, I've worked with those managers before, so when the position came up, I was the first person that they called, so I was happy about that, and just learn from them, continue to do what I'm doing, and hopefully be in a property management position with the next company.
For me, since I've only, haven't even finished my 2nd month, I don't want to be too over-ambitious. But within 5 years, I like to see myself, at least, working up to property manager and then senior property manager. After that.
Pretty much the same thing everybody else said. Definitely want to get the property management title and also the responsibilities that go along with it. And then somewhere within the next 5, maybe 10 years, maybe work towards another designation like CPM. So once you get the requirements and stuff.
I still see myself working with home properties. They're still a growing company. I'll be working toward becoming a property manager, hopefully within the next 10 years, maybe even a regional position.
Great. Does anyone have any final questions for our panel? If not, I just want to thank all of you for coming. I know that you are all very, very busy, and this really, you had to take your whole morning to come here, but we really appreciate your sharing what you've learned over the past few years with us, and some of the suggestions you've made, I think, are going to make an impact on everyone in the room, so thank you so much for coming. And our panelists, unfortunately, have to go back to work. That's one of the reasons